Hi everyone, my name is Alexander Andreev. Introducing to you Harley-Davidson FXR, the legend bike of 1994. Many of you have seen this bike in Pulp Fiction. Then Bruce Willis says, "It's a chopper, baby." Harley-Davidson and the Marlboro Man, with Mickey Rourke riding the bike, and Cobra, with Stallone getting off with the chick at the end of the movie. Personally, I get to know all of this after I bought it, from the one who is jerking off on FXR. What are these pipes installed for? To make the right choice of height. Constant experiments help me to find an optimal height. I satisfied with how it looks, literally only how it looks. I have tried to ride the bike with these pipes. This is painful, because when you get on a bump, your head squeezes the spine and might be stuck there. Now it seems to be looking good. It seems. Guys, if you think that the height affects your stunts, you're right, but that wasn't my point. I was just curious to experiment. I just wanted to be powerful and lightweight. If I took a bike with no need to custom it, what would I get from it? That's why I would never buy a new bike. Because there are old ones. The old bikes have the same suspensions as new ones, which are better to be replaced, because they are mediocre in active riding and useless in extreme riding. To replace rear shocks, the bikes need to be lifted to raise the rear wheel. The only 15-inch shocks that we managed to find is progressive suspension, 970 series. Then loaded, they have required 14 inches length. 970 series have a progressive rate springs, piggyback reservoir with compressed nitrogen and two valves. The body and the reservoir have an internal coating to minimize friction. All elements are of a high standard of production and assembly. Compression can be adjusted with a knob, preload with a special range that comes in a set, as well as washers and bushings to fit different Harley's models. For FXR, such bushings need to be pressed in both holes, in a way to keep the flange toward the bike. It is better to press bushing in a vise, using a washer to fully insert it. On FXR, these shocks are installed upside down, so the piggyback reservoir would not touch the frame. For a pressurized monotube suspension, the orientation is irrelevant. The mounting bolts are tightened to 47 Nm. Preload settings are better to choose during test rides. For drifting, it is better to set the suspension stiffer. Now I set a sag less than an inch. With Alexander on the bike, it would be about an inch under his weight. I set the compression 30% below the maximum tight position. It has 17 clicks overall. In the front fork we install Legend Axeo cartridges with a long cap that allows to increase the length. It is a good option because the rear shocks are longer than OEM shocks. The fork removal begins with the front wheel. Before rebuilding the fork, I clean it in a professional degreasing machine provided by the manufacturer Motorные Technologie. You can find lots of degreasing equipment for car services and productions on their website moykadvs.ru. After the cleaning, we get a brand new fork from Sportster 2004. To install cartridges, it is enough to remove the bottom bolt, drain oil and remove spring with damper rod. No need in full disassembly, if the fork seals and bushings are in good condition. Legend cartridge is a single-unit sealed shock. Model Axeo 39 has a unique through-shaft design with both side linear bearings to provide stiffness that is crucial for such a thin fork. Before installing, the preload needs to be set according to the manual recommendations. In our case, it is a single clockwise turn from the 0 point. Preload adjuster is tightened to the flat part of the shaft with thread lock. The rebound spring is already set, so the cartridge can be installed. It is important to make sure that the cartridge is nested in the alignment cup at the bottom of outer tube. The cartridge is tightened with thread lock to 21 Nm. Sportster 2004 requires 177 ml of fork oil in each tube that comes with the Legend kit. The fork needs to be pumped to let the oil drain down into the outer tube. The fork cap is tightened to 34 Nm. The second tube is assembled similarly. Setting a preload required extra force to turn the adjuster, as it was stuck on the shaft. Unlike standard damper rods, Legend dampers are sealed, filled with oil, pressurized with compressed nitrogen, and has valves for high and low speed compression. The fork is complete, so it can be installed on the bike. It is better to clean the contact surfaces. I fixed the fork at the maximum length, so it would be easier to make wheelies. Triple clamps are tightened to 45 Nm. The wheel is not installed completely, as it will be removed later when we install new front brake. The axis nut is tightened to 75 Nm, fork clamp bolt to 35 Nm. New suspensions allow to lean the motorcycle deeper than cornering. To jump, they don't bottom out, they make braking and acceleration better and allow to pass obstacles. With pressurized fork cartridges, it makes sense to install double-rotor front brake, because fork can load the front wheel steadily throughout the entire braking distance. Watch videos about other FXR setups at our channel and subscribe if information was interesting.